Hello. I'm going to talk today about the origin of tattoos, and to get off started, I'll show you two pictures. And these are two full sleeves on one arm, I don't know about the other arm, but it doesn't matter. This is traditional style, and that's like a newer style, kind of realistic. And I just want you to think like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see these tattoos? And a lot of people will see this and think negative about like stigmas about tattoos, like why get your body covered in this? This could be there for the rest of your life. Well, there's also thinkers like me, because I have tattoos also. That's like that's a really good work of art, and this is a traditional style of tattoo. So today I'm going to go through a presentation on the present, the future, and everything about tattooing, so you know what's the origin and where we're going with it and where it's at today, so people can understand the meaning of tattoos, because we're getting out of like the boomer stage to where it's new people, where people understand tattoos. So I'm gonna start off with the past of tattoos, and just a simple definition of tattoos is a permanent marking on the skin. It doesn't necessarily have to be ink. It can be anything. Like way back in the day, they would use scars as another word of tattooing. The earliest evidence of actual tattooing is 5000 BCE, and I have a slide coming up that contradicts that, but I'll explain it. And there's different forms and meanings of tattoos. There's different styles, as I'll explain in this thing. Like these are just different ones you can get in your hands. People have a face, and just different things. Okay. And then that brings me to my first point, which is traditional Japanese, which is an older style. And as I said a while ago, it started tattoos in 5000 BCE, and this says 10,000. So you might be thinking, why is this shown earlier? Well, Irizumi tattoos started off from these dolls, figurines, clay, whatever you call them, called dogus. I think that's how you say it. And there's symbols, and it looks like tattoos on this thing. So they took these and turned it into tattoos, and it came the traditional Japanese style, which is Irizumi tattoos. And most of the tattoos that the traditional Japanese have are protection symbols or ornamental designs. And this is a warrior on the back of this guy. And this is not an old where this started, but this is the same style of tradition of the Irizumi. And this is a more ornamental design than a protection symbol. And another one that you might not know had tattoos was the Egyptians. And this is on an actual mummy. This is not pictured apparently from way back then. But the earliest form of tattooing in Egypt was about 2040 to 1782 BCE. And most of the time when you think about tattoos, you think of this big old guy covered in tattoos, muscular. Well, in ancient Egypt, prostitutes and pole dancers, well, exotic dancers, were the ones to get tattoos. And this is actually a mummy of a woman that has a tattoo on her neck, and it pretty much meant she was either a prostitute or she was an erotic dancer. And then through all this stuff, it brings us to where we're at today. And tattoos are way more popular than they were back then, and apparently women don't get them because they're prostitutes. Women get them for whatever now. Tattoo parlors are everywhere. You can find one almost anywhere you go. Technology is way better, and it's way safer. Now, this guy might be scared, but as you can see, he's using a lot different than what somebody would have used way back then, of maybe a stick and poke, but he's using actual electronics. And this is just a variety of different things you can get for your tattoo machine or ink or whatever to make it safer than what it used to be. So I'm giving you some examples of different people today of tattooing styles. And number one is The Rock. I know almost everybody knows who The Rock is, and you've always think about those tattoos on his arm, and everybody's seen him. He went with a Samoan style, and this is the side of the arm, and it's basically broken into 10 pieces. This shows 9 on the arm, and then the 10th one is on his chest. They all explain his family and his family origins and his life. Like, let's number 3, which is the coconut leaves, which means Samoan chief, which means a warrior. And then for number 2, which is the sun, it means good fortune, just a little something. And then if you look at a bigger piece, number 7, which is a circular one, it means a priest who raises a warrior. So this all goes back to his history and his family and his life. And then another present day model would be Post Malone. Now, I'm not having nothing against Post Malone, but he has a whole different style of tattooing than The Rock. He has roughly 68 tattoos, and all of them is mostly on his face, as you can see, and he has some on his arm. But he doesn't really have one style. Like The Rock, he has on his arm one thing, Samoan style, that's it. He has them everywhere. He has them on his face, his arms, and basically the difference between him and The Rock is like on his face it says "Stay away," and the reason he got that is song lyrics. And there's a little smiley face on the side of the other two words he has. And the only reason he got the tattoo was, in his quotes, anything to piss my mom off. So, I mean, The Rock has stuff about his life. He has stuff to piss his mom off. So it's a little bit different. And going on from people that have it nowadays, kind of talk about the future of where tattoos are going to go. And you may think, how much farther can we go with people tattooing? Because, I mean, we've been so far already. There's not much we can do. But there's a few more things that you can add on to the future. And that's just someone had got a barcode in the back of their neck. My first one is going to be tattooing with ashes. Now, this kind of sounds crazy, but some people do this as to have people a part of their body. Because, like, some people will get memorials in their arms, but this is actually a part of somebody. So what they'll do is they'll cremate somebody, a loved one or an animal, it doesn't matter. They'll mix it with the ink, and then there's actual ink in the tattoo that has ashes with it. And this is a dog's print that they use. Excuse me. And then this is a person that they actually did the face mixed with the ink and this cremation and tattooed it. And it's been around for not too long, but more people are starting to get it because 50%, a good bit of people, I think 50%, get cremated. So it's a new way of people that can show memorials. And then another technological way tattoos are evolving is LED tattoos. So basically what it is this thing gets put into a silk, and then the silk gets put into an arm or whatever part of your body you want it on, and it'll give, as of now, it can tell doctors information like your heart rate, anything about diabetes, and it's a lot easier than sticking somebody every time you do it. This, yes, it doesn't involve ink, but it could lead to something for tattooing. Because tattooing, we're gonna have to eventually might have to stop using ink. Because I mean, there's not much more we can do. But they're thinking this. If you have enough of them, it can turn into an animated tattoo. That either when you touch it, it'll move on your arm, or you can always change the tattoo. So it might not be permanent. You can always change what you have on your arm. So that's the past, present, and future of tattooings. So I was gonna give a little conclusion about it. Through this, I hope you learned the different things about tattooing, how it came from, where it's at now, and what it might become. And if you had a negative stigma about it, you might understand like where people come from for this. And then I know most people get it to represent something. And if you do get a tattoo, there's a big difference between getting something like this and something like this, for you meaning wise. And tattoos industry's still growing. Many people getting tattoos, and some tattoos have deeper meaning than what I've showed today. But I hope through this presentation you understand that the history of tattoos is way deeper than you might have thought.